Hello, dear aspirants, and welcome to the YouTube channel of The Study. As we all know, that The Study Institute has always developed new initiative that may prove helping in UPSC and various state service examinations. Hence, we are starting the new series of the concise art and culture that will emphasize on various aspects of art and culture, and one among them is the architecture. The priceless heritage of art and culture is found in our country, India, in which the continuation of various forms of art and culture, vis architecture, sculpture, painting, literature, religion, and philosophy, has made India's artistic aspects at the forefront. The architecture and sculptures bear the imprints of various eras in Indian history, from Indus Valley in ancient to colonial history of India in modern. They are the run manifestation of culture, reflecting the mind and approach of the society, and architectural edifices relates to the sumptuous dwells of kings to tombs and mausoleums created history, giving an artistic appearance to realism and earthiness of the earliest sculpture. The artistic remains interprets as expression of deep religious experience, sermons in stone of oneness of all things in universal spirit. On this basis, India was also called the spiritual teacher of the world. The architecture is deeply related with art and culture. In fact, the art and culture has a deep impact of Mahajanpada period of Buddhist religion at present. In the same context, for protection and promotion of Buddhism, the stupas were constructed. It was the Mauryan period that gave architecture a developed stage, then flourishing of art activities related to religious practice raised the interest of construction of stupas, chaityas for the viharas, and then temples at the end. Because of this shift, the religious movements were categorized into three subcategories: the residential structures, the religious structures, and the public works. So, here we'll emphasize on religious structure and monuments. Talking about religious structure and monuments, we'll first come into stupa. So, in this series, we'll discuss about the stupas. The stupas started from the Vedic period in the form of a mound made of clay to bury the dead body, in which the bones and the memoirs remains of the dead are kept. There was a sense of respect among the locals for these mounds. Later, followers of Buddhism popularized it during the Mahajanpada period. Based on the excavation of the present stupas, information about the early stupa is obtained. Actually, stupa is a word related to Buddhist art. Stupa literally means heap or mound. After the death of Lord Buddha, his ashes and other remains were kept in the stupas. In this way, stupas emerged as inspiration and sacred place in Buddhism. Actually, 9 stupas were built after the death of Lord Buddha. Out of these, the stupas containing the remains of Lord Buddha are kept in the 8th stupa, and the 9th stupa kept the vessel in which the bones and relics of Lord Buddha were originally kept. In this way, stupa became the inspiration and palace of worship of Buddhism, so that people could be inspired by Buddhism and follow the teaching and teachings of Lord Buddha. Stupa structure and features. The stupa is a hemispherical structure which looks like an inverted bowl over a platform. This inverted hemispherical shape is called the anda. There is a square structure on the top of this semicircular anda. This is called Hamaika. It is most sacred part of the stupa, as it is considered the abode of the deity. There is a yashti in the middle of this harmaika. Its peak has three umbrellas like discs. These three parasols are considered symbols of reverence, respect, generosity, respectively. The quintessence or core or pradakshina path of the stupa was made up of raw bricks, which Its exterior were made up of paved bricks with a thick layer of plaster. The circumambulatory path is found around the platform of the stupa. The entire structure of the stupa is surrounded by an altar, which was known as the Vedika. An entrance is made on this Vedika, which is called Toran. Each stupa has a small central hall. In the central hall, memorial signs of Lord Buddha, bone relics of Buddhist monks are kept. Initially, stupas were built of bricks and stones. Later, carvings and embellishments were used on them, as well as markings of the plot was done through pictures on the stupa. Now, let's quickly talk about how many types of stupas were there. So, from the point of view of types, there were four types of stupas: object, commemorative, symbolic, or votive. So, talking about the first one, which is the relic stupa. In the relic stupa, the relics of Lord Buddha and his principal disciples in various parts of their body, visible as teeth, fingernail, hair, etc., were kept. Object stupa. In these stupas, the object used by Lord Buddha, such as education vessel, charan paduka, asanas, etc., and his disciples were kept. Commemorative stupa. These stupa were built as a memorial to the place related to the commemorative events of the life of Lord Buddha or sanctified by his visit, such as Bodh Gaya, Lumbini, Sarnath, Kushinagar, etc. The last one was symbolic or votive stupa. These stupas were built for the purpose of worship. They were built by devotees at Buddhist shrines. They were small in size, such as Ruminde Stupa, Sarnath Stupa, etc. So, we shared a word about what are stupas, what is their structure, and how are they divided. Now, we'll further understand how stupas develop in different periods. So, the development of stupa. In fact, art of stupa construction came from tribal elements. It is said that when the tribal chieftains died, their bodies were buried and a mound was built over them. Later, this method was adopted by the Buddhist sect. It is believed that after the death of Lord Buddha, the remains of his body was divided into 8 parts and 8 stupas were built on them. Then further, Ashoka removed the remains from those 8 stupas and built 84,000 stupas. Actually, Buddhist architecture was highly patronized and promoted between Maurya and Gupta period. The old stupas were enlarged and modified. Out of these major stupas, 3 stupas are necessarily mentioned: Barhood, Sachi at MP, and Amaravati Stupas. The Barhood Stupa was built in the 2nd century BC. It is located in Nagar of Madhya Pradesh. It was constructed during the time of Ashoka and it was developed during the Sangha period. Polished red sandstone has been used in it, and beautiful figures of Lord Lakshmi, lotus, elephant, deer, peacock, yaksha, yakshini were made to make Vedika ornate and attractive. Coming on to the Sanchi Stupa, it is one of the outstanding relics of the architecture of ancient India. It was constructed in the 2nd century BC. An ancient stupa of Sanchi expanded twice its size. Then, after placing the pieces of chopped stones in the front of it, a flat road was also constructed 16 feet above the ground. Relatively high stone walls were replaced in place of the old wooden walls. Wood carvings were used in it. Later, it is the 1st century BC when 4 grand pylons were built around which carvings are seen. Then the architecture of stupas in India became more decorated. In this sequence, Amaravati Stupa was constructed in the 2nd almost century. Its size was bigger than Sanchi Stupa. Its 2 passages were decorated with carved frameworks engraving the narratives associated with the life of Lord Buddha. It is important to note that the stupas of northern India become higher in proportion to their base. They were usually built on square platforms which developed as staircase pyramids in Burma and Indonesia, like the Great Stupa of Borobudur in Java. Stupas of Sarnath and Nalanda were also prominent in the stupas of northern India. In fact, the stupa of Sarnath is situated near Banaras. It is a famous shrine of Buddhism. The ancient name of Sarnath is Tachipattan, at which Lord Buddha gave his first sermon. The Sarnath Stupa now has an inner heel, a core. It was once a beautiful, magnificent building made by bricks. It had a semicircular high dome surrounded by huge statues of Lord Buddha at the corners. It was fully built in the Gupta period. Evidences of three stupas found from this place. The Chaukhandi Stupa, it is built at the place where God gave his first sermon. Its construction is related to the Gupta period. It was built as a steward temple. Later, the stupa was modified by King Todarmal's son, Govardhan, by constructing an octagonal tower to commemorate the visit of this place by the Mughal ruler Humayun. It is noteworthy that the Archaeological Survey of India has declared the Chaukhandi Stupa as a monument of national importance. The Dharmarajica Stupa. This stupa was built during the time of Ashoka. Small revered stupas were built around it, only the remains of which have been found. Only the Vedika of the stupa has been found from here. The Make Stupa. This is the Gupta Stupa located in Sarnath. It was built in 500 AD in place of the stupa and many other monuments built by Ashoka. It is believed that it was here that Lord Buddha preached the doctrine of spiritual path or the Ashtang Marg. It is noteworthy that this stupa was enlarged 6 times, yet its upper part is still incomplete. On the other hand, speaking of Nalanda Stupa, it was raised 7 times in sequence, which currently looks like a pyramid of bricks. Initially, it was built on high base with a small stupa at each end. In the course of time, the Gupta and the Pala rulers made immense changes in the form. The small stupas around the big stupas often kept the ashes of the body of the monks, famous for their devotion and scholarship, and its monasteries, pujagrahas, sermons, viharas, etc. were established. In large Buddhist sites like Balanwa, there were fortifications around these monasteries. Coming further to World Peace Pagodas, it is the world's largest Shanti Stupa located at the Ratnagiri Hill in Rajgir. It has been constructed by the famous Buddhist monk Nipponjan Myoji and Fuzi Guruji. It is made up of white marbles on the entire side. 4 golden statues of Lord Buddha are installed in it, which symbolizes the lifespan, attainment of knowledge, teaching, and death of Lord Buddha. Let us tell you that there are 6 other Shanti stupas in India, which are located in Ladakh, Delhi, Dhaulagiri, Vaishali, Wardha, and Darjeeling. In this way, there are a total of 7 World Peace stupas in India. In the year 2019, the 50th anniversary of World Peace Stupa of Rajgiri was celebrated. The next one is the Nagajon Konda Stupa. It is located in Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh. Actually, Nagajon Konda site was famous as Vijaypuri, the capital of kings of Ikshvaku dynasty in ancient times. The walls of the stupa located here are made up of round bricks, and two circular form of round bricks is a symbol of Buddhism. The 5 free pillars standing here are the main features of these stupa. These 5 free pillars symbolizes the event related to Lord Buddha's birth, sacrifice, enlightenment, first sermon, and Mahaparinirvana. Apart from this, other stupas located in Andhra Pradesh and Gudivara, Jagaipet, and Bhattiparolu. So we have discussed about the main stupas or the major ones. Even architect Edwin Lutyens was asked by Lord Charles Hardinge to incorporate symbols of India's architectural past into the building and models the colonnade to carry a Sanchi style dome and balustrade railing. So let's quickly have an eye on the questions that were previously asked in the mains exams related to the topic. So there is this question from 2013 mains which says, explain as to how the earliest Buddhist stupa art, while using motifs and narratives and common cultural symbols, succeeded in transforming these themes for expounding Buddhist ideas. The next one is from 2016, which says early Buddhist stupa art, while depicting folk motifs and narratives, successfully expounds Buddhist ideals. Elucidate. I hope you guys would have been benefited with this. That's all for the day. Kindly like, share, and subscribe the channel. Thank you.